Hey guys, Sonic Master 2.0 Cine is here. It's been a while. I'm gonna cut the intro short, cut the small talk, because I'm here for a reason. I want to talk about stress and anxiety. Now, these are two things that are hard to talk about, because usually the big ones are being depressed, being suicidal. I don't hear about stress and anxiety a lot unless I hear about being stressed because you're overworked. But I want to talk about mental strain. I'm not going to sit here and define stress and anxiety. If you don't know what those things are, you can simply look it up. But I am someone who suffers from anxiety. I never went to a doctor and got prescribed prescribed. I never went to a doctor and got diagnosed with anxiety. And I'm not sitting here and gonna tell you I went online, looked up the definition of anxiety, and bam, I got it. No. I'm telling you as someone who's smart enough and has enough common sense to know what it feels like to have anxiety. You don't have to believe me. You could say I'm overreacting. That's not why I'm here. I want to talk about two things in particular. One, what it's like with anxiety, and two, what the rest of the world feels like when you have anxiety. I'm going to start with two. Anxiety isn't something easy to talk about. It's not something that I personally like to bring up. In fact, I never bring it up. It's something that I've definitely held in for a while. And the reason I'm talking about it now is this is really personal, but I want to say this. A couple of hours ago, just had a panic attack. It's not my first. It's, I think, my second panic attack. The first one isn't important, but this one in particular I want to talk about. Because it's so hard. No, I don't want to say that. I don't want it to sound like a pity party. It's just hard having anxiety. Because it doesn't feel like there's anyone to talk about it with. You could talk to your parents, but I don't think they'd fully understand. You could talk to a therapist, but I don't think it'll help you that much. And I feel like the best person to talk to about it really is just yourself. Now, I'm not going to talk about what led up to this panic attack, but the results of it were definitely felt. I still feel it a little bit now. And I want to talk about what not to do when you see someone having a panic attack. Now, there's a type, I don't think there are different types of panic attacks to have. I've never researched this, but I'm not talking about the type of panic attack where you sit in a corner, your head's like this, you're crying, shaking. The shaking part, yes. I'm talking about the type of panic attack where you just feel a big burst of emotion, even when you're trying to hold it back a lot. You're shaking, your voice is squeaky, it sounds like you're yelling when you're not trying to. You're going to start yelling, that type of panic attack. This one, I'd say this one was the worst of it, because not a lot of things cause me to feel stressed, but having bent up stress, just having it all filled all the way up here, is definitely the thing that made this one so bad. Now, if you see someone having a panic attack like that, I don't think. Now, say what you will, but I'm going to say what I will. It's a terrible idea to scream back at that person, scream that you're being a child, try to shut them up. No, that's a terrible idea because it'll just cause that person to become more stressed, become even angrier, and start doing things. Now, I'm not saying this is someone who's done something like hurt someone. No, I haven't done that. I can hold myself back because I've been doing it. I'm saying this as someone who's very self-conscious. I make a decision or someone I know makes a decision, and then I think about that decision for a really long time. I start to feel bad about it and starts to build up stress. Like, example, just yesterday, a substitute teacher asked us to put the laptops back in the laptop cart properly. I did it, but the rest of my class didn't, making the teacher really upset. And like, even though I didn't do anything, she said something that stuck with me. You know what? Even if you didn't do anything, you could have offered to help. Because one of the kids in my class offered to help. And that stuck with me for the rest of the day. Because she was right. I should have offered to help her. I know she won't see this, but when I get back to school, I am going to apologize to that teacher for not offering to help her pick up the laptops. Anyway, kind of got backtracked. Let me just think for a second. Anyway, that type of panic attack, if I could even call it that, I don't know. Some people might call it having an episode. I don't know. But having something like that, if you see someone with that, don't try to out-scream them. That's just not going to work. It's not going to work at all. What I'm going to say is a little bit personal, a little bit sad. So if you're not here for that, I'd recommend you leave now. I'll give you some time so I can compose myself. And I'm not saying this as anyone with any ill will towards their family. I love every member of my family. No matter how that interaction went out, I'll still love them the same because we're all we've got. So I can't stay mad and keep things held up. But I'm not going to use any names here, but I do hold one thing personally. If someone's having an episode and they lash out at someone you know, don't call that person on the phone and then tell them to go back and beg to apologize. Don't beg for forgiveness, because that won't solve anything either. Because I know that because that happened. Someone, won't say who, called me up on the phone while I was outside upset and told me over the phone, you need to go back and beg for forgiveness. And if you won't, don't ever speak to me again. And I will never speak to that person again. If that's what they want, then that's what will happen. I've already apologized, but I have not begged for forgiveness. I did not go on my hands and knees, start screaming and crying, I'm so sorry, forgive me. I am sorry. The person who I affected knows what I did. Didn't hit them, didn't touch them, didn't say anything too crazy. but it does affect them in a way. And I want to say, I'm sorry for that. But anyway, something else I want to talk about. Something else I want to talk about is what happens after the episode or the panic attack. If you've experienced something like I have, what happens after is a mix of things. What happened for me personally was a swing of emotions. Happiness, sadness, anger.
What are you doing in here?
It's just, it feels crazy because you don't know how to feel. And I didn't know how to feel. I felt a lot of things. But in the end, I remember I started to hate myself. I started to wish I didn't do that. I started to wish I did something different. Started doing things like calling myself a loser, an idiot. Why couldn't I do anything else right? Why couldn't I be better? Why couldn't I do better? Those were all valid things to think. But I don't think those are right things to think. Now, what I mean by valid and what I mean by right are two completely different things. When I say valid, I mean those are fair things that I could or probably should think after doing something like that. But when I say I don't think that those were right things to do, I shouldn't have said those stuff about myself. Because I needed to accept that I was going through something. And that I can't be mad at myself for having emotions. Something else that person said to me that stuck with me is that you're acting like a 10-year-old. You're acting like you're just a little kid. You're not 16. You're acting like a little boy. And I remember what I said, because what I said I meant. I am a kid. I am young. I'm still in high school. I'm not this big guy. I'm not this strong guy. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm just a guy who looks into the mirror and sees himself. I try my best. I'll keep trying my best. If my best isn't good enough, I'll feel bad. But I can feel bad as long as I can let it out. But something I haven't felt like I could do was let it out, which caused a lot more pain to myself than I could imagine. It really did hit hard when the swing of emotions were over, because it was just sadness. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop the snot. I know, gross. I couldn't stop it. It was all just coming at me too fast at one time. And that's what happens when you hold things in. When they all come out, they all come out. There isn't any, it's not coming out one at a time, just one problem after another. It's all at once. It hits super hard. And that's okay. It's okay to feel bad. Something I think society definitely puts into the minds of people like me. Mediocrity, being mediocre at anything, not being the best, isn't okay, according to society. You have to be the best or you're nothing. And that's definitely something I learned in the school system. If you're not the best in your class, you don't matter that much to the teacher. Probably don't matter at all to the teacher or most of your classmates. You could be at that school for 5, 10 years, 15 somehow. Not a single one of them will know your name. And what I'm here to say is, it's okay. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel like nothing. Because, contrary to what this video may say, I'm not a sad kid. I have a great family, great parents, a great sister. I have great friends, specifically two I want to mention, Alexander and Cameron, my two best friends. I really do appreciate them because anytime I'm with them or I'm with my family, I just feel so happy. I feel like I can let the problems just wither away. And that's something I want to feel all the time. That's why I'm making this video. Because no matter what, no matter how personal it gets, no matter the information I'm saying, I want it out there. I want the 5, 10 people that may see this, I want them to know. I want them to know, hey, that Cineas guy, he's all right. I want them to know that. Because I am all right. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. And I'll keep being happy. Even if I feel down on some days, even if I feel down on most days, I can always be happy because every day is a blessing. Every day you wake up, you do something new. Not a single day is the same. And that's the fun thing about life. Not everything is going to be perfect. Not everything is going to be all right. That's okay. It's all right. There are a bunch of things that have happened in my life back to back to back that I don't want to talk about that really affected me, but I didn't want to let people know it affected me. But I just want people like me to understand. Just smile once in a while. It might even save your day. Sonic Master 2.0 Cineas, signing out.